Now it's time for another Board Game Brawl preview with Nick Minahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com. Hey people, today we're going to take a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called Bankers and Robbers, and it's from Feint Media Games. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page. There will be a link up in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Those links will take you to the page. You can find out more information than I could possibly tell you here, and hopefully you'll consider backing the project. Now, Bankers and Robbers is a competitive team-based game. It's also a hidden role and a bit of a deduction game as well. One set of players, as per the title, are the robbers. The other set of players are the bankers. The bankers, of course, outnumber the robbers, and the bankers are trying to hold down the fort and keep the robbers from robbing it, of course. But the game is actually played in two phases. In the first phase, the robbers are just trying to identify each other and then get the plan into motion. The bankers are trying to be a little bit preemptive and possibly take out the robbers, but if that doesn't happen, it goes to phase two, where it's a race to the vault. The bankers want to protect the vault, the robbers want to get in there before the bankers can get there. Now, it's a bit simpler than what I probably just made it sound way too complicated, but let me go ahead and give you a brief look at a prototype version of the game. So what you see in this version may change in the final version, just keep that in mind. Then we're going to come back, we'll discuss it further. Bankers and Robbers is a competitive team-based game for 5 to 8 players. There are 2 robbers in the game, the rest of the players will be bankers. The game is played in 2 phases, and the robbers need to escape elimination in the first phase, then either eliminate all remaining bankers in the second phase, or be the first to get to the vault. The bankers need to either eliminate both robbers in the first or second phase, or get to the vault before the robbers. To set up, first take 2 sets of number tokens equal to the number of players in the game. Put 1 set in the pouch. Then choose one player to be player 1 and get that token. The player to her left is number 2, and so on. 2 robber character cards are shuffled together with enough bankers to cover the rest of the players. Each player is dealt 1 card face down, which they look at in secret. Then every player gets to look at the character card of the player on their right. A number of gun cards equal to the number of players times 3 will be placed in the center of the table, as will a number of key cards equal to the number of players times 4. The first phase begins with the number 1 player drawing a token from the pouch. Whichever number comes up is the player that she will be interacting with. If she draws her own number, she gets a key card immediately. Otherwise, she either gives the indicated player 1 key card or 1 gun card. Then the next player does the same, with the game continuing in player order. After every third round of this phase, player 1 will draw a token from the bag. Whichever player is drawn can now perform a swap. Every other player closes their eyes, and the chosen player is allowed to swap any 2 character cards, including their own, or they can choose to do nothing. Then the phase continues as normal. During this phase, one of the robbers may reveal their card on their turn and force another player they believe is the other robber to reveal theirs as well, as long as each player has between 2 and 4 keys. If that other revealed player is the other robber, this phase ends, and they move on to phase 2. If not, the round continues, and now everyone knows what cards those players have until a swap occurs. Also, the robber in his choice must now have 3 to 4 keys in order to attempt this again. A sole surviving robber can reveal themselves to end the phase if they have enough keys. Any player who gets 3 gun cards during this phase is killed and eliminated from the game, revealing their character card in the process. Keys can also have other effects. 3 key cards can be discarded to peek at any other player's card. However, if the card they peek at is from the opposite team than what they belong to, they must take a gun card. 4 keys can be discarded to force another player to reveal their card to everyone. And finally, when you get 5 keys, you automatically discard them all, as well as any guns that you've accumulated. If the bankers kill all the robbers here, or vice versa, the game ends. But if not, and at least one robber successfully reveals themselves and the other robber, the game proceeds to the second phase. In this phase, the race to the vault begins. Lay out the special cards for the phase. The start and end cards are always in the same place, but the first player will always choose the position of the other cards, with general bank cards and back to start cards filling in. A deck of move cards, 1, 2, and 3, will be shuffled, and a new pile of 24 gun cards will be created. Players who are still in the game will take their extra number tokens and put them on the start card. Then, in numbered order again, players will take turns, either drawing a move card from the deck or choosing to roll the die. All three of the move cards simply let you move that many steps across the board, quote-unquote, when drawn. If you choose to roll the die and you roll an odd number, you can move 1 step. An even number lets you move 2 steps. And if you declare before you roll that you're attempting to move 3 steps, you can roll the die twice. And if you get double odds or double evens, you do move those 3 steps. But if you fail, you must move back 1 step. You can choose to do neither method on your turn, but then you will be forced to move back 1 step. After each round of play in this phase, if any robber is ahead of the bankers, they can give 1 gun card to any one banker player. The reverse could also happen if the bankers are ahead. Banker players still need 3 gun cards to die in this phase, but now robbers need 6 gun cards to die. The first team to get a player to the vault or kill off the opposing team is the winner.
So I've played a lot of games that have hidden roles, but of course there aren't a lot that have to do with this particular theme. A bank and criminals are trying to get into it and rob it. That's actually very interesting and more dynamic than a lot of the other themes I've seen for this type of game. But really, the hidden role aspect is where the similarities stop to other games that have hidden roles, because this is a very unique game in the sense that the 2 different phases of the game are very different. And because of that, and because it's not just you have to get to phase 2, to the end of phase 2, to win or lose, that could happen in phase 1 as well. So that, again, makes the game much more dynamic, because you don't know what's going to happen. If things go horribly wrong for the robbers, there may not be a phase 2. There may not be the whole plot to actually get into the vault. So that's a concern. You need to be worrying about surviving that first phase if you're a robber. So you can't just be like, okay, I'm the robber, I'm going to guess every single time that I can in order to get us through this. You have to be very, very careful with that, especially, but you can't wait too long, because if you're waiting too long trying to discern who the other robber is, well, now whoever has a capability to swap every third round is going to be moving things around, so you may lose what little information you had if you wait too long. So there's a lot of pressure on the robbers, but the bankers can't be complacent either. They have to constantly be using their keys to their best advantage in order to call out the other players, the correct players. They need to be using their guns as best they can, what limited amount of them they can actually garner. And also, since the game dictates who you're actually able to interact with, because it's random, that means you have to always be making critical decisions. Am I giving this person a gun or a key? If I'm giving the person a key, they're potentially a robber, and now I'm giving them an immense amount of power to potentially make another guess as to who the player is. But if I give them a gun, I might be killing another banker, potentially, if they take too many guns. So you have to always be worrying about that. Now, assuming things get to phase 2, well then, there's a whole spatial element to the game, because it's literally a race to get to the vault, which again is very interesting. And now it's harder to kill the robbers because there's less of them, but that still might be another way to win the game. And this is where I was saying before, there's lots of different ways that the game can pan out, which is another very dynamic aspect of it. I keep using that word, and that feels most applicable here. So there's lots of different ways that both teams can either have success or get tripped up, and that always makes for a more interesting game. Now, if you like any of the things that I mentioned here, the theme, the hidden role aspect, the fact that it's played in teams, the fact that it's just very unique from a lot of other games that share some similarities with it, but definitely not all similarities, then you definitely need to go to the official Kickstarter project page. You can do that by following the link in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Those links will take you to the page. You can find out more information than I could have possibly told you here, and hopefully you will consider backing the project. That is Bankers and Robbers from Fate Media Games. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting our sponsors. Take care.
Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.